We start things off in the El Paso County Courthouse in El Paso, Texas.
All rise.
Please be seated. The record should reflect the attorneys for the state, the attorneys for the accused are present in the courtroom.
The man you see here is 41-year-old Daniel Villegas, accused of killing 2 teens in 1993 when he was just 16. At that time, without an attorney or his parents present, Villegas says he was coerced by an El Paso detective into confessing to the murders. Despite recanting the confession hours later, it became a key piece of evidence for the prosecution.
Are present in the courtroom. The court has received a message from the jury indicating that they've reached a verdict.
Villegas has been on trial 3 separate times for this crime and has maintained his innocence throughout.
Let's bring the jury in.
His first trial in 1994 ended in a mistrial due to a hung jury. A 1995 retrial ended with a conviction for capital murder, and Villegas was sentenced to life in prison. After spending 18 years in prison, that verdict was thrown out in 2013 because of ineffective assistance of counsel. Villegas was released in January of 2014 and has remained out on bond as he awaited a 3rd trial. During that time, he fathered 2 children. Though the prosecution continued to insist on his guilt, there was no DNA, no firearm, and no forensic evidence presented linking Villegas to the shooting.
If the defendant will please stand.
The last 25 years of his life, much of it in prison, has all led up to this moment.
In the District Court of El Paso County, Texas, 409th Judicial District, the state of Texas versus Daniel Villegas, number 94-0D09328. Verdict Form B. We, the jury, find the defendant Daniel Villegas not guilty of
For the first time since he was 16 years old, 25 years ago, Daniel Villegas is a free man.
Mr. Villegas, you have been under many conditions in this court. You are no longer under any conditions in this court. You are free to leave. Good luck to you.
Stand up and raise your right hand to be sworn, please. Please stand up.
Next, we head over to the Miami-Dade Bond Court in Miami, Florida,
The one sleeping there, you can wake up too in the back row.
where Judge Mindy Glazer's overseeing bond hearings.
I have a few announcements. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent all defendants unless you tell me you have money to pay for a private lawyer or if you are hiring a private lawyer and one is here. Also, please let me know if you have served in the United States military or any of the reserves. Good morning.
Good morning.
Over the next few hours, she'll see dozens of defendants.
You were arrested for second-degree murder.
As they step in
I'm in the military, Your Honor.
You are?
and quickly step out.
Hi, Mr. Booth. How are you?
How you doing, ma'am? Okay, ma'am.
49-year-old Arthur Booth is a career criminal, charged with burglary, grand theft, fleeing, and resisting arrest.
You have actually 3 arrest affidavits. Reckless driving, damage to property, leaving the scene of a crash with serious injury.
With no serious injury.
I'm sorry, no serious injury.
Okay.
After questioning, Judge Glazer explains the terms of his bond.
The bond on count 1 is $7,500.
But the judge notices something familiar about this defendant.
Okay, Mr. Booth, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to Nautilus for middle school?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
I'm sorry to see you there. I always wondered what happened to you, sir.
Oh, my goodness.
This is the nicest kid in middle school.
Oh, my goodness.
He was the best kid in middle school. I used to play football with him, all the kids, and look what has happened. I'm so sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
The surprise reunion between the two former middle school classmates is almost too much for Booth to handle.
Oh my goodness.
Once a promising student, Booth fell into drug and gambling addictions that led him into a life of petty crime, resulting in multiple stays in prison.
Oh my goodness.
Good luck to you, sir. I hope you're able to come out of this okay and just lead a lawful life.
The reunion somberly concludes as Glazer sets bail at $43,000.
Okay. All right. Oh my goodness. You. Oh my goodness.
Booth is sent to prison for 10 months and then released into a drug treatment program.
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
We head to Jackson County, Florida, for the trial of Zachary Wester. The former sheriff's deputy was charged with 67 counts of racketeering, fabricating evidence, false imprisonment, and possession of controlled substances. Wester's accused of planting drugs in a dozen vehicles during random traffic stops.
A substance that appears to be an illegal narcotic. Do you know anything about that?
I do not.
All of the drivers denied owning the drugs, but yet most were subsequently arrested.
You have the right to remain silent.
The arrest caused suspicion internally, and in 2018, Wester was suspended. 3 years later, the case went to trial. He pleaded not guilty to all charges.
This is a case about an abuse of an incredible power, about the abuse of the incredible trust that we all put, and we have to put, in law enforcement in a society.
The prosecution relied on the defendant's own body cam footage to help argue their case. Stephen Van, a convicted felon, had recently gotten out of jail when Wester supposedly found methamphetamine in his car.
Have you ever seen this before?
No, what is that?
I'm just trying to figure out how that stuff got in your car. You're gonna go to jail today for possession of methamphetamine, okay?
Oh man, dude, I'm serious, dude. Anything. What you want me to do, man?
Like the other drivers who testified, Van gave the officer permission to search his car because he claims he had nothing to hide.
And I knew my truck was clean. I knew it was.
While the jury got to watch most of the traffic stops, some recordings had mysteriously disappeared.
Why in the world would that have been deleted? I wish I knew that answer.
Ironically, body cam footage would become the strongest element in the prosecution's case, especially when it came to Teresa Odom.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
At first, the officer's polite, even playful.
Anything in the vehicle I need to be concerned about? Bombs, hand grenades, rocket launchers? Okay.
While Odom stands behind the vehicle, Wester begins his search. Notice as he prepares to put his gloves on, there's a small item in his left hand. Prosecutors argue that Wester is palming a small bag of meth, which he claims to find next to a spoon in the vehicle.
Miss Odom.
It is yogurt, sir.
I know. Okay.
It's yogurt.
How about this, though?
That is not mine. No, sir.
Okay.
Now, the white small plastic baggie that was in that spoon that the deputy just showed you on this video, had you ever seen that before?
No, sir.
Was that in your car?
No, sir.
As far as motive, the prosecution claims the 28-year-old officer was ambitious and wanted to move to narcotics as quickly as possible. Wester testified he never planted any drugs.
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
And after 5 days and several witnesses, the jury was asked to render a verdict. If Wester's found guilty on all charges, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars. After 7 hours, the jury returns with its verdict.
In the state of Florida versus Zachary Tyler Wester, we, the jury, find as follows as to the counts charged and the information. Count 1, guilty of racketeering as charged.
The clerk went on to read the verdicts on all 67 charges.
Count 7, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
In total, the crooked officer was found guilty on 19 charges.
Count 9, guilty of official misconduct as charged. Count 10, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
Including misconduct in the arrests of Van and Teresa Odom. 11 of the 12 drivers filed civil lawsuits against Wester. In July 2021, he was sentenced to 12.5 years in a state prison. This is the arraignment of 20-year-old Spencer Allen Boston. At a traffic stop 2 months earlier, Boston received citations for speeding and simple possession of marijuana. As he walks up to the podium, Judge Haywood Barry's informed that Boston has a special request.
I spoke with Mr. Boston. He said he wants to represent himself in this case. I told him today was just an arraignment. It's either guilty, not guilty by day. To which he responded, I just want to plead my case to the court. So he didn't want to talk to me after that, so that's why he was
Start talking, son. Yes, sir. I think it's very unfair, the marijuana law here. I think we the people deserve better because marijuana is a very harmless drug, and it's been around for ages, since the 80s and 90s.
I've heard that baloney all my life, so don't go any further on that.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether it's good or bad. All I know is Tennessee still has it against the law. I swore to uphold the laws, and I have to uphold the laws as a judge. It probably is unfair, but I can't change it. You've got to go see the legislature to get that change.
Yes, sir.
And if you get it changed...
Judge Barry quickly returns to the matter at hand.
Now, if you want to plead guilty, you can today. But if you want a trial, we can give you a trial on the officer's date, which it's Officer Vincent.
Officer Vincent?
You want to fix trial date?
Yeah, we can do that.
That'd be fun, then you make another speech.
As the judge works with court employees to schedule a trial date,
May 7th.
Boston decides to take action as he pulls out what appears to be a joint. No one seems to notice until, shockingly, he lights up. And this time it's noticed immediately.
Hey! We the people deserve better.
Boston may have finally pleaded his case.
Hey! We the people deserve better.
But he's immediately taken away by the court officer. And Judge Barry gets the final word.
Take you to jail.
Slapping Boston with a disorderly conduct charge, as well as another charge of possession. The judge also holds him in contempt of court, and Boston is forced to spend 10 days in jail. The joint was collected as evidence. For this next story, we want to warn you, the facts are gruesome. But as you will see, daring escapes aren't only attempted in the American legal system. As we head over to Russia.
Тебе решение суда понятно?
This is 18-year-old Leonid Grazer, who's on trial in Moscow, Russia, for the murder of his sister, Aradia Korol. According to the defendant, he was commanded by Satan to kill his 21-year-old sister, who he stabbed multiple times. Today, Grazer's in the Sherbinsky courthouse behind the walls of a glass cage. This practice is rarely seen today outside of Russia to prevent dangerous criminals from attacking or possibly even escaping, which is exactly what Grazer's planning to do. It appears now that Grazer's calmed down, but moments later, he somehow has slipped through the slats at the top of the bulletproof security dock. A gap in the video doesn't reveal how he did it, but if we look again, officers consider opening the box to stop him, but Grazer's way ahead of them. One officer strikes him, but he's not giving up. The female officer runs over and presses a large button on the wall, calling for backup. Grazer's pants are coming off during the escape. The officer has a firm grip on Grazer's leg and is not about to let go. Then another officer arrives. At this point, these Russian officers are not playing around. As the taser comes out, he makes sure Grazer knows what's about to happen. Grazer's finally had enough. After putting his pants back on, Grazer will go on to make a full confession for the murder and said he had no regrets about what he did. We head down to Daytona Beach, Florida, where a call comes into the Volusia County Sheriff's Office.
Communications, Warhurst.
Yeah, I want to report a crime that's about to happen.
What do you mean a crime that's about to happen?
Yeah, there's about to be a crime that's going to happen if my kids don't come back to me, you stupid because your stupid judges don't want to bring people to courtrooms. I got a gun pointed at your building.
Sir, what is going on?
Who the you calling, sir, you stupid? Where's your judge warrant at? You gonna bring that out in handcuffs and I'm gonna execute that son of a right in the street. I'm letting you know I'm gonna shoot this. You gonna with my kids.
Where are you at, sir?
I just told you I'm outside of her building waiting for her to get there in the morning. I'm gonna pop a cap in that. You stupid.
Detectives identify the anonymous caller and track him down. Alan McCarty is arrested and charged with making death threats against a judge, whom he mistakenly believes took his children away in a child custody case. Now, a year later, in front of a different judge, his trial begins.
All right, back on the record, Mr. McCarty, President. He's under oath from the start of the trial.
No, I'm not. I'm not under oath.
All right, raise your right hand. I'm going to swear you in.
I'm not under oath.
Raise your right hand, please.
That's your bad finger. I didn't appreciate that.
So you're going to threaten me like you did the other day?
You solemnly swear or
Threaten you to participate here.
No, you threatened my life the other day. I am not under oath. This is being done unconstitutionally. Y'all took my kids unrightfully. You want to allow my witnesses here? You want to allow my paperwork? Y'all took all my court paperwork.
We haven't started the trial yet.
It doesn't matter. You still deny it. You want to take my kids from me and act like that? You in that. You in that took my kids.
Holly, make sure you take down what I say. He was sworn in.
No, I was not sworn in.
Yes,
I've never been sworn in this court. Bring the camera back. He's making this up.
So, that being said, number one, I need to know whether or not you want to be here during the trial process.
No.
All right, do you want to testify, though?
No, I don't. This is all being done unconstitutionally, unrightfully.
Do you want to be in the room or not?
Do you want my
I'd prefer not to, sir.
Well, you got a mouth for it.
No, do you want to be here or not?
Oh, who the to sit here while you take their kids? This is a conflict of interest. Every right y'all I supposedly have you violated. Can I get some water, please? I got a lot more cussing to do, and I need to wet my mouth.
Do you want to be here when the jury's here?
What the do you think?
I don't know. I need you to answer.
McCarty decides he'll stay for witness testimony,
Oh, because my other answers wasn't good enough.
but is ordered out after continuing with his outbursts. McCarty's eventually found guilty. He returns the following month for sentencing.
Everyone ready to go?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, State of Florida versus Alan McCarty Jr., who is present here today on two reasons. One is to sentence on a jury verdict that had been accepted, but we're also here on an order to show cause, which I would like to address first. First of all, if I haven't formally already, but you're before the court, Mr. McCarty, to show cause why I should not hold you in contempt for behavior that you demonstrated during the jury trial. You threatened the unborn child of the prosecutor.
What a bunch of lies, you stupid piece of
Then also
You threatened my life.
in the
You
back room.
I'm not standing. I'm resisting. I'm not resisting. I'm just not standing up. I'm not standing. I don't have to stand.
McCarty's removed again. This time he's placed in a back room with a one-way mirror.
Count one, I'm going to adjudicate him guilty, sentence him to 15 years in Florida State Prison. As to count two, I'm going to adjudicate him guilty, sentence him to 5 years in state prison to run consecutive to count one. So a total of 20 years.
McCarty's currently serving his sentence in a Florida state prison. Next, we head to the S. James Foxman Justice Center in Daytona Beach, Florida.
We are ready to go forward on the Keandria Cook, Judge. All right, Ms. Cook, come on up.
The woman being sworn in is 18-year-old Keandria Cook. Cook's in court today to receive a sentence for using a dating app to set up a robbery that ended with another teen being shot. The teen survived. Cook has accepted a plea deal that will drop a conspiracy charge, which carried a maximum penalty of life in prison. But counts of carjacking, attempted carjacking with a deadly weapon, and felony battery are still in play.
All right, come on up, Ms. Cook. You get to say the final words.
I just want to say that I'm sorry for the being wrong, that her son had to get shot, because I didn't even know he was going to get shot. My boyfriend and his friends did threaten me to do this. I didn't even know what was going on until I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I just want to say that I asked for forgiveness as much as I get a chance so I can get out and finish school, and I can make my mama proud, because I want to be her first child to bring home a high school diploma. And I just want to make my mama proud. That's it.
Cook now prepares to hear her sentence as her loved ones look on.
Ms. Cook, you're before the court for sentencing. A couple of things going in your favor. One, you didn't hold the firearm during these episodes. The second is that the victim luckily survived. That being said, this was intentional. It was an orchestrated ambush, and you are a main part of that. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and adjudicate you guilty of all three charges, sentence you to 20 years in state prison. Concurrent as to the first two.
The crying you hear is coming from Cook's mother. The sentence much more severe than they expected.
Charges. All fines and costs.
It turns out that Cook and her mother's reactions were so intense because they believed the plea deal meant no prison time. Judge Foxman allows her to enter a new plea deal, citing miscommunication between Cook and the assistant public defender. As a result of that new deal,
I think he got good in you, and I think he got potential. Don't lose sight of that.
Cook's sentence is reduced to 11 years in prison. Now to the Moore Justice Center in Brevard County, Florida.
2 charges, assault and resisting. You have the public, Mr.
Where public defender Andrew Weinstock and his client are appearing before Judge John Murphy, whose voice you hear.
Public defender, what do you want to do?
But they filed?
They have.
I'm not waiving.
All right, what do you want to do?
What do you want to do? I'm not waiving. You want to set it for trial, set it for trial.
Judge Murphy wants the defendant to waive his right to a speedy trial because the court's schedule's backed up. Weinstock isn't budging, and tensions are mounting.
If I had a rock, I would throw it at you right now.
You know,
Stop pissing me off. Just sit down. I'll take care of it. I don't need your help.
No,
sit
you know
down.
what? I'm the public defender. I have a right to be here, and I have a right to stand
I said
and represent
sit
my
down.
clients.
If you want to fight, let's go out back and I'll just beat your ass.
They both head to the hallway behind the courtroom, just out of the view of the court's cameras. Believe it or not, they get into a physical altercation until Judge Murphy returns to the courtroom alone.
Thank you.
I will catch my breath eventually. Man, I'm an old man.
Once Judge Murphy catches his breath, he continues with the rest of the hearings without Weinstock present.
Your choices, considering there's probably going to be a changeover in personnel, are setting it for trial June 9th, or if you were wanting to waive speedy, we would set it for July 15th.
I would like to get it done as fast as possible.
That doesn't help me.
The incident's investigated by the Florida Judicial Qualifications Commission, who charged Judge John Murphy with threatening to commit violence against an assistant public defender, engaging in a physical altercation with counsel, and resuming his docket while defendants were without counsel. The case eventually reaches the Florida Supreme Court, which orders the immediate suspension and permanent removal of Judge Murphy from his post. Andrew Weinstock later resigns from the public defender's office. Thanks for being a fan of CourtCam. Subscribe to A&E to never miss a new video and catch full episodes on aetv.com.